This right here is Flash Season 1 and this is Flash Season 9. It's very clear over the course of 9 years the show has changed tremendously. Some people would say for the better, but a lot of people would say for the worse. Now guys, the first main difference I want to talk about with the show is plotline. Have you guys noticed that in Season 1 all the way to about Season 3 to 4, the plot was about Barry Allen and the Flash? Whether it was us finding out that Reverse Flash was Barry Allen's mother's killer, or finding out that Savitar was an abandoned version of Barry Allen, the truth is things always tied back to the Flash. And you know, this helped us keep a good connection with Barry, and overall it kept everything moving stable. But now, however, none of these recent seasons are tied to the Flash. None of them. I'm telling you, none of them. If you guys have watched the show recently, you know these new villains just come out of nowhere and like we're supposed to care about them. Like take for example, Red Death. Red Death appeared out of literally nowhere and we were expected to care. Like, who are you? Who are you, sweetheart? Who are you? Or let's go back a couple seasons and talk about Cicada. Oh, cause Cicada got hit with a dagger during a meteor strike. Let's make him the next Flash villain. What are you doing? Or better yet, let's look at even another villain, a female villain, Ava McCulloch. Oh no, Ava! Her husband's evil and she got stuck in a mirror. Let's make her the next villain. Like, what? like saying this stuff out loud actually makes you think about it. Like the show is really just making anybody a villain now. Oh, something bad happened to you? Yeah, just come fight Barry Allen now. Just come fight the Flash. Like what? And obviously this is a very serious issue because if we're having all these new random people not associating the plotline with the Flash, then it's way harder to engage with the show itself. Why do I care about a villain that isn't even tying to the Flash? Like I want to see the Flash's history tied to a villain, correct? So if you're gonna bring some random girl from a different multiverse and expect me to care, it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. Now moving on, the second big difference we have to talk about is the Flash team itself playing a very different role. Or let me correct myself, a different type of efficiency. Guys, do you remember in Season 1 when everybody in the Flash team had a specific role? Cisco was the smart tech guy that helped Barry in his missions. Caitlin was the medic scientist that helped analyze him and heal him whenever needed. Whenever we need like a motivational old man to step in, Eobard Thawne would come in and be like, run Barry, run, Barry, run. And you know, that would help him motivate. But besides that, it was only those two people. And guys, as we all know, now if you look at the show right now in its current state, the team is running at zero efficiency. Really, zero efficiency. Guys, I truly think at this point right now, besides Chester, nobody is really playing a crucial role for Team Flash. Like, why is anybody in this picture needed at all? Allegra just stands there and follows Iris around like a lost puppet. Cecile just comes in for motivational sappy talks. It's okay, sweetheart, it's okay, I'm Cecile, And Caitlin was actually pretty helpful until they killed her off for some reason at the end final season, so good job for that. I personally think CW thought if they added a bunch of new characters, we were bound to fall in love with one of them. And you know, that would be a way we can get connected to the show again by falling in love with one of these new characters. But I'm not gonna lie, you guys didn't pick correct. Because I don't want to speak for everyone, but these characters just alone aren't really likable. Like, there's nothing about these people that are so charismatic, so likable, that I instantly fall in love with them. Do you guys get what I'm saying? The one really big downside to this huge new addition to the team that CW didn't really talk about is loss of connection. Like, if the Flash team was composed of 2 people as compared to like 10 people, it would be way easier to build a connection with those 2 people rather than 10. Do you really expect me to like every single character on the Flash team, like really fall in love with that? There's no way. Now moving on to the third biggest change, this one right here is actually very interesting. And ladies and gentlemen, do you guys want to know what that is? Do you want to know what that is, sweetheart? I'll tell you. Investigation. And what I mean by investigation is if you guys have watched the show recently, you'll understand that typically villains are uncovered because of something they do. Keep that in mind. The villain's real identities are uncovered because of something the villain had done. Like take for example, Red Death will go out and cause some havoc and then it will be tracked back to her hideout. Do you understand what I'm saying? So like the villain will do something and then the Flash team will follow up with that and go over and figure out who that person is. But it always starts with the villain doing something. But back then, back in Season 1, Season 2, we would have actual investigations, actual questioning happening, actually going to people's houses, actually gathering evidence and figuring out who the person is that way. It would be Flash team that was on the hunt. They would be the one discovering everything. Do you understand what I'm saying now? And this method of questioning, evidence, all that was way more entertaining than the method we have now. Back then, it was so engaging because we were getting to the truth in an investigative way, which actually made the Flash show for a lot of us feel like a murder mystery show, you know? It was like, oh, who did this? Let's figure out clues, let's gather evidence, it would literally feel like a mystery show, which would make us so much more engaged. Like, if you guys are forgetting, the only reason Red Death was actually revealed is because she wanted to show her own face. Nobody on the Flash team did like some discovery or like investigating. She just took off her mask. Oh, I am vengeance. Like, she did that to herself, bro. But if we took Red Death and brought her back to season 1 and she wasn't known yet, we would have Joe, Cisco going to her hideout, going to her home, scanning pieces of evidence, finding dark matter, and that's how we'd find her. And now, before we move on to the fourth biggest difference in the show, let's dance, babes. Let's dance together because we hit 13K subscribers. Let's dance, babes. Let's dance.
Hands in the air, it's a sticker up. Spin the same hood where I get my damn, this nigga lucky. Damn, that nigga lucky. Gotta throw a party for my day ones. They ain't in the studio, but they.
Okay, I think we can continue now. I think, do you guys want to continue now? Do we want to proceed with the video? We do? Okay, yeah. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, the fourth biggest difference in the show is music change. Now, I won't harp on this change too much because I've talked about it way too much in the past videos, but basically, if you guys haven't noticed, back in season 1, season 2, season 3, the show had very, very serious and cinematic music. Take, for example, this iconic scene in episode 1 where Barry Allen is fighting the weatherman and we hear this great, beautiful, intense music. And when we combine that intense music with some intense action and some intense music, we would have a beautiful, beautiful scene. But nowadays, even if we are giving an intense moment, like some intense action-packed scene, the show ruins it by adding unintense music. So I'm not here to say that the Flash is completely taking out intense scenes. There are definitely intense scenes, but the music that goes along with these scenes is so horrendous. It's horrible. Take, for example, the final battle between the Flash and Eva McCullough. We all know it's about to be a big fight. There's a lot of build up behind this fight. Everything's about to happen. Everything's about to go down. And then when it finally does, this happens. CW, you guys are so funny. Adding unfunny, unserious music in this really serious scene. You guys are so funny. Thank you guys so much for ruining it. Thank you. And you know what, guys? I'll give you an even better example. Here's an actual put together video that shows the true comparison between Flash season 1 and season 9 music.
Run, Barry, run!
Hey CW, have you ever thought that maybe I don't want to listen to hard metal rock while the Flash runs on lightning? Well, saying it out loud kind of makes it sound cool for some reason, but I promise you it's not cool, okay? It's not cool. I don't know why saying it out loud sounds like that, but it's not cool. But now, ladies and gentlemen, moving on to the final biggest change in the show. This change is so dramatic, it has completely changed the entire trajectory of the Flash ratings. But before we talk about it, make sure you're subscribed right now because we gotta hit 100K by the end of the year, so make sure you hit that button right now. Hit it right now. Hit the button right now. It's very clear that at some point, the Flash decided to make the show a lot more funny now than back in season 1. In the last example, I talked about how music changed the vibe of the show to make it less intense, but now let's talk about everything else that also makes the show a lot less intense. Now, the first thing we need to talk about that no one really mentions, so it's gonna be a little bit surprising hearing this, but the first big reason the entire show's demeanor changed is the way it's shot. No one talks about this, but guys, back in season 1 OG Flash, the show was a lot more intense because we had very close zoomed up shots. Take for example when Eobard's giving a speech and the camera is right up against his face, or when Barry Allen is running in an intense fight, he is the completely zoomed up focus of the screen. This in cinematography is actually a trick that helps make the scene have a lot more serious vibe and overall serious tonality, right? But now fast forward 9 years later and I can't remember the last time the show intentionally tried to do something like this. It seems like the Flash has lost the ability, lost the touch to shoot a serious and intense show. It seems like nowadays they have a very basic normal way of shooting where you record the people from one angle and then another angle and then this angle and that's kind of it. Literally nowadays you can see they aren't shooting with intent, and that is a very big problem. The last actual time I can remember this happening is in season 8 when Barry thought Joe died, and that was literally like a year ago. That's it. And the second big major reason that's made the show a lot less intense is the overall atmosphere becoming a lot more professional and undramatic. Do you guys remember back in OG Flash we would have so many scary nighttime scenes? scenes. It literally feels weird to say that because I don't remember the last time we had like an intense nighttime dramatic scene in the show. Unless of course there's tentacles involved, but we don't talk about that. But anyways, yeah, back then when they had serious intense scenes at nighttime in an atmosphere that was dramatic, serious, dark, that would make the entire show a lot more engaging because everything just felt more raw. Like the actual atmosphere itself back in the early days of the show felt so real, so genuine, so raw. Guys, I feel like a crazy person talking like this, but this is actually the genuine emotion of this show. Like it used to be so serious and dramatic. But ladies and gentlemen, now look at this. Look at how Star Labs looks. Look at this. They've turned everything so professional, super bright lights, super everything white. Ooh, bright this, professional, money, like, ugh. And because of this atmosphere change, I cannot get the same feeling of a raw, dramatic atmosphere anymore. I have not gotten that feeling ever since early Flash. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, this was the Flash then versus now, every single difference. If I missed any major difference, let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you guys next time to say